Growing up, Hayden Schock was a rolling stone. His father, Ed, served in the Air Force, so following Hayden's birth in San Antonio, the family moved from Texas to Virginia to Arizona, Florida, and Arkansas before he landed back in Northern Virginia at age 12 in 2005. But one thing never changed: his love for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Schock, who was born with a rare syndrome that causes deafness at birth, was 6 when he asked his parents about their favorite football teams. His mother, Mary, and being from Texas, loves the Dallas Cowboys. His dad, who was raised in Indiana, Pennsylvania, has always rooted for the Steelers. He ended up joining his dad's fandom for 2 reasons. He liked the team colors, black and gold, and he saw running back Jerome Bettis on TV. From that moment on, I became a diehard Steelers fan, Schock said in an email from his home in Burke, Virginia. As a kid, I called myself the Bus Junior. It's a passion so essential to his core being that when the NFL put out the call for nominations for its annual Fan of the Year contest in mid-August, Dale McCord, who's known Schock for 20 years, was all over it. What makes Hayden the best Steelers fan isn't just his dedication to the team, McCord, who like Schock is deaf, said in an email. It's that being a Steelers fan is truly part of who he is. He embraces the black and gold in a way that goes far beyond game days. It's woven into his identity, his energy, and how he connects with others. The Steelers agreed, and on November 2nd, the 33-year-old found out he'd been named the Steelers' 2025 Fan of the Year. The announcement, which came ahead of the Steelers' game against the Indianapolis Colts, took weeks of planning between the team and family members to make it a surprise. Schock, who goes to several Steelers games a year and got tickets to the Colts matchup for his birthday, thought he was getting access to the field at Acrisure Stadium during warm-ups because his mother had won sideline passes at Sheets. But it was all a ruse to get him on the gridiron, where Steelers center Zach Frazier handed him 2 all-expense-paid tickets to Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara, California. Upon seeing "Congrats Hayden, 2025 Fan of the Year" on the stadium jumbotron, Schock was so overcome with emotion that he dropped to his knees by the players' tunnel with his service dog, Abby. "I'm shocked," he communicated through American Sign Language, with his mother translating. The Steelers received more than 1,000 submissions for the award, putting in the top 5 within the NFL. Fans can either enter themselves, or they can be nominated by someone else who knows them. "It's not just the one who's the loudest or the one that's the biggest superfan," said Steelers Director of Marketing Justin Mitchell. Rather, the team looks for fans who give back to their community in some way and have a story of resilience and advocacy that brings people or a community together. In Schock's case, it was the really good work he has been doing for years within the deaf community and with people involved in organ transplantation. He received a kidney transplant in 2017 after being diagnosed with a kidney disease IgA nephropathy. His donor, Audrey Hardwick, worked at his high school as a paraprofessional and happened to be living with one of his former interpreters when the call went out for living donors in 2016. 9 years later, she talked about her decision to donate a kidney. "Hayden is one of the most enthusiastically supportive and selfless individuals I know," she wrote in an email. "He savors life with his family and friends while using newfound platforms to educate, support, and inspire." A lifelong athlete who grew up playing all different kinds of sports, Schock participated in his first Transplant Games of America in San Diego in 2022 and his second in Birmingham, Alabama, in 2024. He competed in ping pong 100-, 200, and 400-meter sprints and softball toss, and medaled in almost all of them. He also was a goalkeeper on the Team USA transplant team for the Transplant Football, Soccer, World Cup in Serbia, Italy, in 2024. "I wanted to be involved to show people that a second chance at life truly transforms you, showing what my body can do post-transplant," he said. On his platform as Steelers Fan of the Year, he has started a challenge on his Instagram page called 13 for Life. He vows to do 13 push-ups every day until the Super Bowl to honor the 13 people who die each day while waiting for an organ transplant. "It has turned into a meaningful movement," he said. In his quest to help other transplant patients in their journey to wellness, he recently became a certified nutritionist. In August, he launched Schock Nutrition, offering personalized nutrition and lifestyle coaching for transplant recipients. The Minnesota Vikings parted ways with franchise icon Adam Thielen on Tuesday, and his wife explained why, went into his decision to go the Pittsburgh Steelers. Caitlin Thielen posted on Instagram about Adam's decision to get away from the Vikings and join the Steelers on Tuesday. Thielen started 4 games for the Vikings and played in 11, but only had 18 targets and 8 catches for 69 yards this season. He rejoined Minnesota, where he spent his first 10 NFL seasons before joining the Carolina Panthers in 2023, when the Panthers released him at the end of training camp. The Steelers claimed Thielen off waivers Tuesday. This is Adam Thielen's last chance to win a Super Bowl. Thielen has been a consistent performer into his 13th NFL season, yet asked for his release from Minnesota, so he can chase the ever-elusive first Super Bowl ring. Still, his wife pointed out that winning was only part of the reason he asked out of Minnesota. Thielen has played just 29% of the Vikings' offensive snaps this season and has only 4 catches on just 10 targets for 32 yards over their past 7 games since number 2 wideout Jordan Addison returned from suspension. It's not even about wins or losses. It's about Adam wanting to compete, wanting to play. Caitlin Thielen shared in a post on Instagram. This is his last season. I know him as a competitor. He wants to compete, wants to play, wants to prove. He's always been about proving people, proving to himself. Caitlin and the Thielen kids will remain in Minnesota while Adam goes to Western Pennsylvania. She opened up about how that decision will be hard but necessary. Pittsburgh will be in Cleveland on December 28th, in the Whiteout's final season. It's just been really hard, especially for him around the holidays, Caitlin said. I think it's been a blessing that he brought us to Minnesota, home, so we know where to be post-football. Adam Thielen can help the Steelers' offense. The drop-off has been profound for Thielen since he went from a 1,000-plus season in 2023 in Carolina to effectively a bit player on one of the NFL's most disappointing teams. But the Steelers are in need of an offensive weapon to complement DK Metcalf in the worst way. Metcalf's production has cratered as a consequence of the Steelers' lack of depth. He is averaging just 28.8 receiving yards per game over their past 5 games, and they have lost 3 of 4 and averaged only 14.5 offensive points per game in that span. With veteran quarterback Aaron Rodgers passive-aggressively pleading for his team to upgrade the talent around him, and the extremely winnable AFC North falling out of Pittsburgh's grasp after its 4-1 start, the front office made the right call by claiming Thielen. Thielen has been a possession career throughout his career, which complements Metcalf as the deep threat. He also had 615 yards in 10 games for the Panthers a year ago and can at least command some attention more so than Calvin Austin, who is the team's de facto number 2 receiver. Austin has just 26 catches for 298 yards this season, but is definitely more of a WR3, especially opposite Metcalf. As the Pittsburgh Steelers continue nosediving, the calls for the organization and head coach Mike Tomlin to move on from one another have gotten increasingly louder. Even Ben Roethlisberger, who won Super Bowl 43 with Tomlin and spent 15 seasons playing for him, believes Pittsburgh should consider ushering in a new regime and thus allow his former head coach to explore his options elsewhere, which could include going the collegiate route. Maybe it's a clean house time. Maybe it's time, Roethlisberger said on his Footballin' podcast per Steelers Depot's Ross McCorkle. I like Coach Tomlin. I have a lot of respect for Coach Tomlin. But maybe it's best for him, too. Maybe a fresh start for him is what's best. Whether that's in the pros, maybe go be Penn State's head coach. You know what he would do in Penn State? He would probably go win national championships. Tomlin's other job opportunities. If Pittsburgh doesn't turn its season around and either misses the playoffs or loses in the wild card round, even if it were to make it, there's certainly a possibility that the organization could look to move on from Tomlin after 19 seasons. Though there's been some speculation about Tomlin leaving the Steelers over the last few years, it feels like the situation could actually reach a boiling point this time around. With that being said, though, Tomlin would immediately jump to the top of the list of available head coaching candidates in the NFL. He's turned in 18 non-losing campaigns in a row since becoming head honcho for Pittsburgh in 2007, and he's built up a ton of respect around the league en route to his 189 wins, which ranks number 11 all-time. As a result, there's just about no world in which Tomlin would accept an opportunity with Penn State or any other collegiate program. He stated that there's not a booster with a big enough blank check for him when asked if he'd consider heading to the NCAA back in 2021, and there's no reason to believe his stance on the matter has changed over the past 4 years. Should Steelers actually move on from Tomlin? Tomlin cemented himself as a Steelers legend a long time ago, and it wouldn't be easy for the organization to actually let him walk, but that outcome may be in the interest of both parties. It's unlikely that Pittsburgh would straight-up fire Tomlin, though, with a mutual parting of ways serving as the likeliest course of action should the two sides end their partnership. Here's what you do. If you don't fire a coach like Coach Tomlin, Roethlisberger said. He's a Hall of Fame coach. What you do is you come to an understanding and agreement, and it's like, hey, listen, I think it's probably best for both of us. Tomlin is among the best leaders in the sport and has cultivated a strong culture in Pittsburgh, but perhaps his messaging has become stale in the team's locker room. The Steelers are in need of sweeping changes across the board, and it may start with a head coaching search this offseason, should Tomlin leave.